Hello. So, in the movie The Lion King, if you haven't seen this movie, I don't understand how you haven't. It's a great movie. I love this movie so much. It's so deep. It speaks to me on so many levels. Um, yeah, it's a great movie. You should check it out. But anyway, in the starting scenes, there's a scene where Mufasa is spending time with his son Simba, and they're standing outside on the hill, overlooking the Pride Lands. And Mufasa says to Simba something along the lines of what I'm about to say, and this is paraphrasing it, but hopefully you get the message. He says, Simba, when the sun sets on my time as king, it will be your turn to be king, and all of this, so everything you can see, will be yours to rule. And Simba says, all of this will be mine? And Mufasa replies, everything. Then Simba becomes curious and asks, so he looks around and he looks around, sees the green pastures, sees the lovely savannah, the trees. And then he looks beyond and he sees the dark, shadowy place. And he says, what about that shadowy place over there? And Mufasa replies, that's beyond our borders. You must never go there, Simba. And Simba replies, but I thought a king could do whatever he wants. And Mufasa says, oh, Simba, there's more to being a king than getting your way all the time. Okay, so after that conversation with his dad, later on, Simba goes to his uncle, Scar. Right, so this uncle basically, a bit of background, he's the evil one basically. He hates his brother. He'd rather be king, and obviously he would do anything to be king and stop, his brother or Simba, his nephew, to be king. So anyway, Simba goes and tells his uncle everything that his father's told him about, being king, So basically just, telling him the summary. And Scar is obviously clearly irritated by this, because obviously he wants to be king. And he's saying, oh, so your father showed you all the kingdom, did he? And Simba says, yeah, everything. And Scar says, he didn't show you what's beyond that rise of the northern border, did he? To which Simba says, no, he didn't. He said, I can't go there. Now by now, Simba is already excited to hear about this forbidden place that he can't go to. But Scar tells Simba to promise that he won't go there, to which Simba replies, no problem. Now obviously we know Simba is a little kid, right? He's gonna go there. And he does go there. Long story short, Simba's decision to go beyond the borders cost him a lot later in his life. And it's had severe consequences on the lives of pretty much everybody in the kingdom. Now, why am I going on and on about Lion King? I'll tell you. The topic we're looking at on this video is boundaries. Now, we all have some sort of boundary, whether it's to do with our personal preferences, what we like, what we don't like, the things we'll try, the things we won't try, our personal space. We don't just allow anybody to just come into our personal space. We have boundaries in our relationships with our friends, siblings, partners. These are boundaries in a way, things that we should do, things that we shouldn't do. And when someone crosses the line, then, as we know, there are usually consequences for that. Right, these boundaries can be set by ourselves or by others. And the boundaries are usually there to protect us from what lies beyond those boundaries. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about breaking down walls of oppression or pushing boundaries or crossing boundaries in terms of, say, technology, for example, and search for new wisdom. That's a good thing. But I'm talking about boundaries that we shouldn't cross. Just like in the case of the Lion King, God has also set boundaries for us. And it's important for us to note that He also provided everything that we could ever need within the confines of the Pride Lands. We see an example of this in the book of Genesis, right? Where God tells Adam, there's all these trees here, everything around here you can enjoy, eat to your heart's content, But there's one tree that's in the middle of the garden. Don't eat it. Don't eat of it, because on the day that you eat of it, you will surely die. Simple, right? That's it. That's the boundary. That's the border. That's the line. Don't cross that line. There's so much stuff out here, you can eat all this stuff, but that one tree, don't touch it. what does he do? That's right. He eats it. What's this thing in us that wants us to leave the green pastures and the lovely, the plenty, the food and, the good stuff and go to the shadowy place beyond the northern border? What's that thing? Why do we do it? We all do it. But there's something inside of us. It's the sinful nature of man that causes us to do what we know isn't right. And I'm sure we can all relate to this. Okay, so we might have heard of this phrase: if it feels good, do it. No, that's not right. We can't. Our feelings are not enough of a moral barometer for our decision making. Just because we feel like eating ice cream before bedtime does not mean that we should. Just because we feel like driving 100 miles per hour down a 40 mile per hour road doesn't mean that we should. Because there are consequences to these actions, to these choices. And by the way, we often speak of freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of, action. We really like being told what we shouldn't do or mustn't do. But freedom is not a lack of boundaries. Freedom is not the same as having no boundaries. I believe there are boundaries in freedom. Now, boundaries aren't impossible to cross. Of course, you can cross many boundaries. They're not. It's possible to cross the line. We do it, all the time. I do it. You do it. Even with God, God has set boundaries, but God didn't make it impossible to cross those boundaries. God put the tree in the Garden of Eden. I won't ask myself why He did that. I guess because He wanted to give man a choice. God is not about making robots. God is about relationships, and He wants us to choose. And He gave Adam that choice. And Adam made a choice. And Genesis chapter 3 talks about the consequences of the line that he crossed. So we will have to face the consequences. It's the law. It's the law of cause and effect. It governs the universe. If this happens, if you choose this, there's a consequence for your choice. We can't escape it. The aim of this video is to remind us, in case we forgot, in case anybody's forgotten, the need for boundaries. It's to remind us the benefits of respecting boundaries and the consequences of discarding those boundaries and ignoring those boundaries. And finally, to encourage us to set boundaries and respect them. So if you're a married couple, for example, have boundaries, things that you've decided with your partner that you will do and things that you've decided that you won't do, places you decided you won't go. If you're a single person, set boundaries. If you're dating, set boundaries. Everybody has a boundary to set, and everybody has boundaries to abide by, and set boundaries by the word of God. It's for our benefit. I hope this has blessed you. Please leave a comment, share, subscribe, like if you like it. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. God bless you.